Here we are again, standing at the crossroads of destiny and devotion, where two names whispered together by millions might finally become reality once more. Picture this exact moment, a quiet morning in Istanbul, somewhere between the chaos of production schedules and the silence of what has been 7 long years. Barış Arduç just posted something that sent the internet into absolute meltdown. Not a casual selfie. Not a random throwback. Something that made every single person who fell in love with Kiraz Mevsimi wonder if the impossible was about to happen. Let me take you back for just a second, because understanding why this matters requires knowing what these two people created together. In 2014, Turkish television was already a powerhouse. Dramas were crossing borders, stories were being dubbed into dozens of languages, but nothing, and I mean absolutely nothing, prepared the world for what happened when a clumsy aspiring fashion designer named Oyka crashed into the life of a wealthy businessman named Ayaz. Kiraz Mevsimi, which translates to cherry season, was not supposed to be the cultural earthquake it became. It was a summer series, something light, something to fill programming gaps. What it turned into was a phenomenon that would define an entire generation of Turkish drama fans worldwide. Elçin Sangu and Barış Arduç did not just play characters. They breathed life into a love story so authentic, so filled with genuine chemistry that audiences from Argentina to the Philippines convinced themselves that what they were watching had to be real. The way Barış looked at Elçin in scenes that were supposed to be simple dialogue exchanges. The way Elçin laughed at his jokes with a spontaneity that no script could manufacture. 70 episodes of pure magic that left viewers devastated when it ended, not just because the story concluded, but because these two actors went their separate ways professionally. Now here is where things get interesting, and trust me, you're going to want to hear every single detail of what has unfolded over these 7 years. After Cherry season wrapped, both actors made very deliberate career choices. Barış Arduç took on dramatically different roles, playing a troubled man seeking revenge in Kiralık Aşk, then transforming into completely opposite characters in series like Kiralık and Alparslan. He married his co-star Gupsozoe in 2022, settling into what appeared to be a content personal life away from the frenzy that Cherry season had created. Elçin Sangu, equally strategic, chose projects that showcased her range, from the psychological complexity of Mutluluk Zamani to the period drama Bir Zamanlar Kibris. Both actors gave interviews over the years where they spoke warmly about their time working together, but always with a certain distance, a professional politeness that never quite gave fans the reunion hope they desperately craved. The fan campaigns never stopped though. Every single year without fail, on the anniversary of Cherry season's finale, hashtags would trend worldwide. Petitions circulated gathering hundreds of thousands of signatures begging producers, networks, anyone who would listen, to bring Oyku and Ayaz back. Fan accounts analyzed every social media post from both actors looking for hidden meanings, searching for any indication that paths might cross again. When Barış would mention Elçin in an interview, those clips would be dissected frame by frame. When Elçin praised Barış's work in a casual comment, it would make entertainment news across 3 continents. This was not normal fandom. This was a collective longing for something that felt unfinished. And then, just when it seemed like everyone had accepted that Cherry season was a beautiful memory locked in time, something shifted. 3 months ago, in an interview that most people almost missed, Elçin Sangu said something she had never said before. The interviewer asked her the question she had been asked 1,000 times: would she ever work with Barış Arduç again? Every previous time, her answer had been some variation of never say never, diplomatic, safe, meaningless. This time, she smiled differently. She paused longer than usual. And she said, "There are conversations happening that I cannot talk about yet, but I think people who have waited patiently might find themselves happy very soon." The internet did what the internet does. It exploded. But here's what most people missed in that frenzy. That same week, Barış Arduç was photographed leaving a production office in Istanbul that just happens to be owned by the same company that produced Cherry season. Coincidence? Maybe. But then his manager, in a now-deleted Instagram story, posted a coffee cup with a caption that read, "Some stories deserve second chapters." Again, could mean anything. could mean nothing. Except industry insiders started whispering. Let me explain how Turkish television production works, because this context matters. Unlike American television, where renewals and reunions can happen relatively quickly, Turkish series operate on grueling schedules, sometimes filming 6 days a week, producing 2 to 3 hour episodes weekly. Actors commit to projects that can consume years of their lives. For two major stars like Barış and Elçin to align their schedules, to find a project worthy of their return as a pair, to navigate the expectations of millions of fans who have built this reunion up in their minds to impossible standards, that is not just difficult. That is nearly impossible. Which is why most people, even the most devoted fans, had kind of given up on it ever actually happening. But something has changed in recent months, and the evidence keeps mounting in ways that are becoming harder to dismiss as coincidence or wishful thinking. A very reliable entertainment journalist in Turkey, someone with a track record of breaking accurate news, posted cryptically 4 weeks ago that a major streaming platform had just greenlit a project that would, and these were the exact words, bring together a duo that Turkish drama fans have been praying to see reunited. No names mentioned. Could have been anyone. Except every single comment underneath that post said the same two names. Barış and Elçin. Then 2 weeks ago, Elçin was spotted at a restaurant in Bebek, an upscale neighborhood in Istanbul, having what appeared to be a very animated, very enthusiastic conversation with a woman who sharp-eyed fans immediately identified as one of the lead writers from Cherry Season. Photos were blurry, taken from a distance, but body language tells stories that words do not. This was not a casual catch-up dinner. This was a working meeting. Scripts were on the table. Tablets were being referenced. This was business. Now I need to pump the brakes here for a second and separate what we know from what we hope. Here are the confirmed facts. Both Barış Arduç and Elçin Sangu have recently finished their respective projects and have openings in their schedules for the first time in years. Confirmed. Multiple entertainment sources have reported that a major production is in development specifically designed to reunite a popular on-screen couple from a past successful series. Confirmed, but not specifically naming Barış and Elçin. There have been meetings between the actors, writers from Cherry Season, and production executives. Confirmed by photographs and insider reports, though the content of those meetings remains speculation. What is not confirmed, and this is crucial, is whether this is a continuation of Cherry Season, a completely new project pairing them differently, or even if negotiations are finalized. The rumor mill has gone into overdrive with specifics that sound almost too perfect. One widely circulated story claims the project is a limited series, 8 episodes, picking up with Oyku and Ayaz 7 years after we last saw them, now navigating marriage and completely different life challenges. Another version insists it is a feature film, a 2-hour cinematic event that would get theatrical release in Turkey and international streaming distribution. A third rumor suggests it is neither, but instead a completely original story, possibly a romantic thriller, that simply reunites the actors in entirely new roles, allowing them to create fresh chemistry without the baggage of beloved characters. Each version of this rumor has supposed inside sources. Each has details that sound legitimate. And each could be completely manufactured by fans desperate for this to be real. This is the tricky territory we are navigating. The desire for this reunion is so intense that distinguishing between legitimate industry intel and elaborate fan fiction has become genuinely difficult. But let me tell you what happened just 5 days ago that has even the skeptics reconsidering their doubt. Barış Arduç, who is typically very controlled and deliberate about his social media presence, posted a photo. Just a simple image of a cherry blossom tree in full bloom with a caption that said, "Some seasons are worth repeating." Within minutes, Elçin Sangu, who almost never engages with Barış's posts publicly, liked it. Then, and this is where it gets wild, she commented with a single cherry emoji. That is it. One emoji. The internet has seen marriage proposals with less fanfare than the reaction to that single piece of fruit. Fan accounts gained thousands of followers in hours. The hashtag about their potential reunion trended #1 worldwide, beating out major political events and celebrity scandals. Entertainment shows in Turkey dedicated entire segments to analyzing those 4 words and 1 emoji. Was this confirmation? Was this teasing? Were they just messing with fans who have supported them for 7 years? Or was this the soft launch of an announcement that would come soon? Industry analysts I have spoken with off the record suggest that if this project is real, and most now believe something is definitely in development, the announcement would likely come within the next month. Television production cycles in Turkey typically announce major projects 6 to 8 weeks before filming begins. If Barış and Elçin are clearing schedules and social media teasing is ramping up, logic suggests we are in the pre-announcement hype phase. There is also the business argument that makes this reunion not just emotionally satisfying, but financially logical. Streaming platforms are in an arms race for content that is built in global audiences. Turkish dramas have proven their worth internationally. Netflix, Amazon Prime, Disney+, they are all investing heavily in international content. A reunion of Barış Arduç and Elçin Sangu would not need traditional marketing. The announcement alone would generate millions of dollars worth of free publicity. The show would trend before a single frame was filmed. International distribution would be guaranteed before the first script was finalized. From a pure business perspective, this is as close to a sure thing as exists in entertainment. Yet there remains significant risk, and both actors are surely aware of it. Cherry season ended on a high note. It is remembered with overwhelming fondness. The characters of Uyku and Ayaz are frozen in time as this perfect representation of romantic comedy done right. Returning to those roles, or even just reuniting as an on-screen pair, means risking that legacy. What if the chemistry is not the same? What if 7 years of life experience, of different acting approaches, of personal growth, means they do not fit together the way they once did? What if fan expectations have grown so enormous that nothing they create could possibly satisfy the fantasy millions have built in their heads? These are real concerns that have likely been discussed extensively in whatever meetings have taken place. Elçin Sangu is a perfectionist, known for turning down projects that do not meet her standards. Barış Arduç has been equally selective, choosing complex characters over easy paychecks. For both to commit to this, the material would have to be exceptional. The story would need to justify the reunion, not just capitalize on nostalgia. Which brings us to the most intriguing possibility that insiders have mentioned. What if this is not about recreating what was, but about creating something entirely new that acknowledges the passage of time? Imagine a story where 2 people who had an intense relationship years ago, who went separate ways, who built different lives, find themselves crossing paths again in circumstances neither expected. Not a continuation, but a reimagining. Same actors, same undeniable chemistry, but a mature, evolved story that reflects who they are now, not who they were in 2014. This approach would satisfy multiple objectives. It gives fans the reunion they crave. It provides creative freedom to tell a fresh story. It reduces the pressure of living up to specific beloved characters. And it allows both actors to showcase how their skills have developed over 7 years of diverse projects. Whispers from the production side suggest this might actually be the direction being explored. A limited series, possibly titled something evocative but distinct from Cherry Season, where 2 successful people in their 30s, both having experienced love and loss, find themselves reluctantly working together on a project that forces proximity and reignites feelings they thought were long buried. It is familiar enough to feel like coming home, but original enough to stand on its own merit. If this is what has been in development, if this is what those meetings and scripts and social media teasing have been building toward, then the wait, the speculation, the 7 years of fans refusing to let go of hope, all of it would make sense. But we still do not have official confirmation. We have breadcrumbs and patterns. We have insider suggestions and circumstantial evidence. We have 2 actors who clearly maintain mutual respect and fondness, but have never publicly committed to working together again. We have production companies and streaming platforms who understand the goldmine this reunion represents, but also the creative risks involved. What we know for absolute certain is this: the conversation is happening. Whether it results in an actual project that gets filmed and released, that remains to be seen. But for the first time in 7 years, The people who fell in love with Barış Arduç and Elçin Sangu together have legitimate reason to hope. Not just wishful thinking. Not just fan campaigns shouting into the void. Real, tangible evidence that the stars might actually be aligning. In an industry where reunions are often discussed, but rarely executed well, where nostalgia is frequently weaponized to disappoint, the possibility of this particular reunion feels different. It feels considered. It feels like everyone involved understands what is at stake emotionally for millions of people who found joy, escape, and genuine happiness watching two talented actors create magic together. The next few weeks will likely provide answers. Announcements are coming from multiple production houses for their upcoming slates. Awards season in Turkey is approaching, which often serves as a venue for major reveals. Social media activity from both actors continues to fuel speculation. Something is building. Whether it crashes as another false hope or materializes into the reunion fans have dreamed about, we are about to find out. What remains undeniable is the power of what Barış Arduç and Elçin Sangu created together. 7 years later, their names mentioned together still generate passion. Their chemistry is still referenced as the gold standard. Their story, whether it continues or remains a perfect memory, has already secured its place in television history. So to everyone who has waited, who has hoped, who has refused to let go of the belief that some on-screen partnerships are too special to never be revisited, your patience might finally be rewarded. Keep watching. Keep hoping. Because if even half of what we are hearing turns out to be true, we are about to witness something truly special. The reunion we have all been waiting for might just be closer than we ever imagined. And if it happens, if those cameras start rolling and we see Barış and Elçin together again creating the kind of magic only they can make, it will have been worth every single day of the wait. Stay tuned, stay hopeful, and make sure you are subscribed because when this announcement drops, and I believe it will, you are going to want to be among the first to know. Like this video if you believe in second chances and destined reunions. Comment below with your honest thoughts. Are you ready for Barış and Elçin to find their way back to each other on screen? Because ready or not, it just might be happening.